Hey folks, this is a special report for the next 48 hours. I am calling it the Misery Index because Saturn's involved. So Saturn, as we speak right now, is crossing through the heart of the sun, and this report is going to cover February 4th and 5th. Now, I am on Eastern Standard Time, New York time. So if you're somewhere else, you just want to adjust your timing accordingly. Okay. So during this time, we can expect some very specific things. One, we can expect moments where we're going to be able to see things clearly right now, really clear, and without the usual soft lens of forgiveness or leniency, or even optimism. And well, maybe that's not really. No, no, no. It absolute hard, real, realistic. This is what you get. Okay. Now, it's not you're not going to find these in aggressive moments. I mean, maybe, but not likely. And it's definitely going to feel more like a no avoiding it now kind of truth. Um, so there's that. The measurement of what a situation, circumstance, or person is will be very, very clear at this time. So you're not going crazy. You're really seeing it. Some other things that are important to know is that people who don't like to speak plainly or like to think of themselves as very clever with their words, and you'll see a lot of these kinds of people on social media because that's their preferred medium because they can, edit their cleverness online. And also politicians, especially politicians who really think they're clever with their wordplay. Uh, During the next 48 hours, this will all fail spectacularly for these types of individuals. Because Saturn is crossing to the heart of the sun, and Saturn in the sun, the heart of the sun is all about integrity. And there's no integrity when you're playing games with words. So there's that. So at this time, truth and reality are taking the spotlight to end the games. So this is a pretty important 48 hours. Everything's going to be out on the table. There's going to be no hiding or disguising or pretending at this time. And the only people who are going to be lying are people who are lying to themselves. Believe it. So you can expect some uncomfortable conversations to potentially happen today that have a lot to do with accountability. Okay. And with that, the energy or the personality, the vibe that goes with this is about no leniency, no forgiveness, no BS. Literally just tallying scores and demanding an end to the noisemaking. Just stop talking, shut up, let's get down to business. Here's where we're at, this is what has to happen, and this is never going to happen again. Mm-hmm. Now, just so you know, Saturn also rules silence and accountability. So expect both of those keywords, silence and accountability, to be of heightened importance today for everyone in all situations. Okay, so what's actually happening astrologically? Well, Saturn is in the heart of the sun in the sign of Aquarius. Saturn loves being in Aquarius, the sun, not so much. At the same time, over the next 48 hours, the moon has entered Aries and will move into activating first Mars, then Venus, then finally Mercury and Pluto. So that moon in Aries, when it triggers Mars, will absolutely set things into motion in terms of making a decision, taking an action, cutting the nonsense, getting on the business, and let's do this thing. No more noise, do something. That should happen sometime today. And again, remember, I'm on New York time. When the moon, because Venus and Mars are very close to each other right now, so when the moon leaves Mars and then goes to Venus, then we can expect some attempts to ameliorate or soften the situation, to diplomatically handle the situation, which may or may not get anywhere. Certainly relationships are going to be challenged and really given their report card at this time, or their walking papers, these things go. Now, when the moon finally gets down to Mercury and Pluto, now remember, Mercury just stationed direct. So right now, Mercury is moving at the speed of a glacier, like super slow. And it's within orb of conjunction with Pluto, which makes it very, very intense and uncomfortable. A whole lot of stuff that goes with that we may or may not want to deal with. When the moon in Aries gets down and activates that Mercury-Pluto conjunction, anything that's been held up, obstructed, bogged down, weighing like an albatross around your neck, as an expression from literature, or like an anchor or a ball and chain that has not let you move forward because there's been problems and obstacle obstructions. That, my friends, will come to an end in the next 48 hours. So a whole lot of stuff is about to be cut loose loose and things are going to start moving. But with Pluto involved and Mercury at the station degree, and just coming out of that station, being cut loose may not necessarily be so fun. It will be necessary, but anything that's been that long standing and that resistant to release and movement and freedom, anything that's been fighting that hard to maintain the status quo, which is what these two planets have been doing, it's going to be uncomfortable when they let go, when you get freed from it. So expect some less than happy, cheerful releases from bondage, as it were. Okay. Also, just as a side note, in the meantime, also expect folks who are easily frightened or clinging to their spotlight, right? Because this is all about them. It's always been about them. But, and this is the same, literally more of the same. It's, another usual day in their usual life. It's all about them and their spotlight. Expect them to become very agitated with you if you're not playing along with their cotton candy vision of reality or themselves right now. So if you're dealing with somebody who needs the spotlight or is trying to control the direction the conversation is, let them, unless it's absolutely necessary for you to get involved and challenge them. Let them, leave them to their fantasies, because you, my friends, have real work to do, and somebody else can take on that challenge. You don't need to do it. Or maybe you do, but if you do, expect a larger than normal response to you stealing their thunder or you frightening them. It's the volume is turned up on the more fragile and easily frightened, and their responses to you may be in keeping with their absolute desire to not have that thought. Don't make me think about this. Okay. And finally, and this is the end of the report here, be prepared for everything to finally come to a conclusion that has been long overdue for a release from indecision. Those are the situations and circumstances we're looking at. Anything we've been on the fence about or unable to move or not quite able to coordinate or whatever. You know what these situations are. This has been long standing. Expect those things, and especially with indecision about not being sure what the next thing to do is or where to go, how do we handle this? Expect all of those things to come to a conclusion in the next 48 hours. And remember, my friends, root canals hurt, but not doing the necessary cutting hurts much worse and for much longer. So consider all of this an opportunity to get out of this before we become entrenched and die of our own poison and toxicity from situations that we have allowed to go on for far too long. So, and it's only 48 hours. That's it. This has been your quick report. Remember, it is Saturn in the heart of the sun. So integrity is everything right now. So act with your highest integrity, and you'll find that you'll get through this swimmingly. Not easily, but certainly swimmingly. And for those of you who like to play games, you know who you are. The whole list of politicians that start that list. Accountability is also the other side of Saturn in the sun. So expect a whole lot of accountability to be demanded without any exception or leniency in the next 48 hours. See you guys soon.